Kraken Home Ice is sponsored by Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
The second and final meeting this season between the Seattle Kraken and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Mahura Montour, he scores! And Shane Wright was the drive-by screen. Second of three meetings this season between the Seattle Kraken and the St. Louis Blues. Dunn right in, he scores! Vince Dunn finds the mark in his old stomping grounds. The Seattle Kraken get set for the Vancouver Canucks. Here comes Shane Wright for Seattle on the off wing. He's in. Burakovsky scores! Montour, a tip, they score! Oliver Bjorkstrand!
The Kraken kicked off the month of March back home in the deep. After almost a month without hockey in Seattle, the Kraken hosted the Vancouver Canucks tonight at Climate Pledge Arena. Welcome to Kraken Home Ice. In tonight's episode, we hear from Captain Jordan Eberle as he's finally back in the mix. Head coach Dan Bylsma talks to us about the ups and downs of the season so far. And assistant coach Jessica Campbell opens up about her approach to developing players. On Sunday against the Lightning, 28-year-old Alex Stezko made his NHL debut in goal for the Kraken. Seattle held on until the second period when on a Kraken power play, Brandon Hagel gets the feed and goes to work against Stezko. The Lightning then follow with two more goals. In the third period, Brandon Montour shoots, Shane Wright tips it in. Tampa Bay adds an empty netter and the Lightning win it 4-1. Tough night for goalie Joey Daccord in St. Louis Tuesday. He gives up 5 goals in the first period and a half. Daccord gets pulled midway through the second, so Nikkei Coco is put in. He gives up 2 goals on 6 shots. The Kraken manage a couple of goals in the third period, both by former Blues players. Vince Dunn gets an unassisted beauty in the third. Jaden Schwartz follows with a wide open look, but it's all Blues on this night, 7-2 the final. It was a big week for one Kraken player in particular. Goalie Nikkei Coco played in his first NHL game. Coco was recalled from Coachella Valley to back up Joey Daccord against St. Louis. He entered the game in the second period. At 20 years and 347 days old, Coco became the youngest goalie to have his NHL debut this season. Earlier this week, his coaches in CV surprised him with the news.
You've been playing great. Obviously, the record shows it. You're not going to be able to give your parents a ride to the airport tomorrow because you're going to the NHL.
Oh.
Excited, bud?
Yeah. Good.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations. You're going to be backing up
Thank you.
in St. Louis, bud.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I trust I play here good and try to be every time better and it's really nice.
From the kid to the captain, Jordan Eberle is finally back with the team after recovering from pelvis surgery. We talked to Eberle about the challenges he faced to get back on the ice.
Anytime you get hurt, it's always hard. I think this type of injury, just being away from the group, having to be at home for a while and not being around, I think you kind of feel like you get out of touch. I mean, you can text and you can be a voice from the outside, but when you're not around the guys, you're not on the road trips, you're not being with them when the wins and doing the losses, it's hard. So it's the camaraderie in the locker room, flights, dinners, I mean all of that. It's where you build as a group and you build as a team, and missing out on that for a couple months, it's a hard thing to do with it when you're an athlete, when you're used to that.
Yeah. How about as far as the process of it? Was it more draining physically or mentally on you, or a little bit of both?
Mentally, for sure. I think just the nature of the injury and not really having any basis or catalog of anyone who had gone through something like that to, figure out how long timetable that, just trying to figure out, how I'm going to feel post-surgery, all of it. It's mentally, it's draining, but as you get on the ice and you see progression, you continue to move forward. I think you try to stay positive as you can, and as cliche it is, you just kind of base it on each day. You come to the rink, if you feel crappy, you try to not get too low, and feel good, you try not to get too high.
How about as far as when you first took the ice in that first game? I would imagine that you kind of wanted to get hit. You want to kind of get a few things to make sure that, okay, everything's okay. Do you need that for you mentally?
Oh, no question. I think, I mean, I've had injuries before, but now when you're out for 3-4 months, and not kind of the traumatic part of it, going into the boards, I think you need to get hit, you need to get bumped. I tried to simulate that stuff in practice beforehand, but nothing really compares to a game.
Is there something you can help this team with? Do you almost turn into a coach when you're watching, and like, can you bring something to the table that you couldn't bring when you're on the ice?
I think just for me, it's always been about my work ethic and my demeanor at the rink, the way that I approach things as a pro. I think when you come into, obviously this group, where we're standing in the standings and coming back, it's not easy. There's always negativity that creeps in when you're losing games, and you have to find a way to, with these last 22 games, whether we win them all and get into the playoffs, or if we, find ourselves out of the mix, you have to find a silver lining into what you're building as far as a culture into going into next year. So, I think it's kind of a fragile thing to deal with, but I think something that I look forward to. I've been in these situations before when obviously you're on the outside looking in and things can get a little bit dwindling, but you have to try, like I said, find something to build a culture, build something that you feel good about going into next year and maybe progressing.
Here's Vince Dunn, settles, shoots, scores!
Yeah, I mean, you say that, and you're a veteran, and you have that work ethic, but it also could reveal a little bit of the character of these younger guys on this team, huh?
Yeah, no question. Anytime there's always opportunity. You've seen guys like Ryder, who's really, blossomed into a great player this year. Matty, who's taking steps, and we need all that. We need that. We need other things as far as that too to build this team. I think I've always said this throughout the years. The line between winning and losing this league is so slim. It's such a hard trophy to win because each night is such a battle. Whether you're playing the last place or the first place, this hockey is just, you can win any night you can. So I think it's just understanding how close you actually are and grinding out the finer details of the game so that you can find yourself in the other win column instead of the loss.
That's Kraken hockey, baby!
Next on Kraken Home Ice, we're talking to head coach Dan Bylsma after the team's break and road trip. And first concerts, that's the topic in this week's shootout. Stay with us.
And that's Kraken hockey, baby. What a win tonight. The Seattle Kraken have defeated the Stanley Cup champions.
After the Four Nations break and a long stretch of road games, the Kraken are finally back home. We talked to head coach Dan Bylsma about some of the adjustments the players may have to make after playing their first home game in over 3 weeks.
I think travel is a bigger question mark than coming back home. Now we haven't been home in a full break and the game before the break and the 3 games coming out of the break, so it's been a long time. But really the travel is more of an issue, is kind of the question when you come back from a road trip. If you've been on a road trip for a week and long travel, you come back home when you play 2 days later or a day later, having your legs, having your feet, having your skates underneath you is a question mark. We have had a chance to get home, have a day off, 2 days of practice. I don't think that's the urgency and the desperation that each and every game right now in this time of the season where we're at in the standings presents for us. I don't think it should be a problem or a question.
Yeah, I guess at that point, you bring that up. I would imagine that these players are, and the coaches as well, sharp, know what's ahead of you and know the task that you face over the final several weeks of the season.
Where we're at, how many games we've won, I don't think we know exactly what that is. I don't think any of us are happy about it, can't be happy about it, and some desperation and some urgency have to come every time we step on the ice.
Throughout the season, it's been kind of a revolving door with injuries and players getting called up and the challenges as for you as a head coach. But one of the guys we talked about very early in the season was Shane Wright. You thought he would have a breakout season, and seems like you're a pretty good talent evaluator at that point.
Larson hammers it, tipped, loose, they score! Shane Wright!
I think it's just a process of his career and his development as a young player. And we've seen it over the last 2 years. Saw it in CV last year, and there's certainly been a hiccup here or there, and he did sit out some games early on in the season, but the way he came into camp, the way he presented himself, the way he worked, he was primed and poised to to do some good things on the ice, and now we've done it over 60 plus games. It's starting to show up more and more often, and as point production, since coming back in the Anaheim game after the sit-out has been a really good sign.
Backs up Bjorkstrand, shot, tip, scores!
You've been around this game a long time. When the NHL trade deadline comes up each year, do you sense any emotions with your players? Can you kind of put your finger on how this team is feeling with that deadline coming up?
It's something you deal with every year, but you deal with it because whether it's true or not, whether things are actual real or not, you see things in the media, you see things on the TV shows about trade lists and potential trades and people that may or may not be available. So the players see it and feel it, and it's something we're always dealing with, and it's a tough thing to do, to talk about, just to control what you control, do what you can do, and let it play out the way it plays out.
All right, on a lighter note, Kraken Day, the players, the coaches put together a favorite things baskets, and your donation is a favorite things basket that includes a fly fishing trip with you, which sounds really cool. So tell us about it.
Are you going to bid on it?
I'm not a fisherman, but I know up here in the Northwest there's a lot of people that would love to.
Fly fishing fishing in general, but fly fishing is a passion of mine. I don't get to do it very often, except in the off season, and I thought it was a great idea to donate a trip, be a part of a trip, fly fishing here in Pacific Northwest in particular.
I mean, isn't fly fishing it's a sport in itself, where it takes some skill to be really good at it?
It takes time and patience and some solitude, and I like all those things. But it's also one I lifelong learner, trying to keep getting better in each and everything I do, and fly fishing is probably the ultimate task to strive to continue to be meticulous and continue to be better, and fly fishing is that each and every time.
Music holds lots of memories, and it's likely you remember your very first concert. In this week's shootout, we asked the players about their first concert.
AC/DC in Edmonton at the Commonwealth Stadium there, so it was a lot of fun. I went with my dad and my brother.
Last year in CV, we visited the Pittsburgh concert. It was nice. Yeah.
92.
I think it was the Black Eyed Peas, actually, a long time ago. I think I was like 5. Or it was Backstreet Boys. It was one of the two.
It's a tough one. I don't even know it, to be honest. Had to been a country concert of some sort.
Zach Brown Band 2 years ago. That was it.
I want to say Phil Collins, Genesis. It might have been Huey Lewis in the News.
More to come on Kraken Home Ice. Assistant coach Jessica Campbell discusses the process of preparing plays in critical moments. And this week was the 90th annual Seattle Sports Star Awards. The Kraken were among those recognized on a night dedicated to honoring Washington sports.
I may be the first woman behind an NHL bench, but I'm surely not the last.
Assist of the Week is sponsored by Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
Beniers, Larson with a shot wide, a rebound, an easy tap in.
The assist of the week goes to Capo Caco. In Tuesday's game against the Blues, he took a shot on the net, and Jaden Schwartz was at the right place at the right time. Schwartzy, with the rebound, taps the puck into an open net. In her first year as an NHL assistant coach, Jessica Campbell has drawn up a lot of plays. Allison Lucan talked to Campbell about her approach to developing players and her process in preparing plays in critical moments.
Something I've kind of summarized in my own head in terms of my leadership style is 3 L's: listen, lift, and love the player, because I think when you build a respect and a rapport by just sitting with a player and you address the human first and foremost, you automatically, I think, create a foundation and just that groundwork for building a trust and a respect that you care about them. One thing I think that, you know, I try to do with players is create a foundational package for them of who they are at their best, and sitting with them and asking them, who are you at your best? You know, obviously scoring goals is great to see and fun to watch for anyone to see them performing at their best, but also the little things like being physical on a forecheck and being gritty and showing the emotion of the game and showing them like, hey, here you are scoring, but it started with you making a tough play and finishing a check and getting back up and making a tough play to your teammate. Like, those things are the recipe to your success where the puck goes in the net. And I think they feel a whole different level of emotion when you see that in them.
Did you bring anything to your coaching style or technique from both women's and also the international game where you were as well?
Yeah, the one thing obviously for my playing experience was we didn't have open ice body checking, right? So the puck possession game was critical, and holding on to pucks and kind of the grind of it. And I think, you know, you look at some of the best teams, and even when we're at our best, we're getting pucks into the offensive zone with possession. We're putting pucks behind, but then we're winning possession back and we're holding on to pucks, and we're not just, you know, making a quick play because, you know, you're not shying away from the pressure of the check, but also like leaning into that and like spinning off of pressure, because there are times too where it's not a physical hit, it's just taking pressure and using that pressure to come out with speed.
There is a seminal image that has become part of your experience this year, and that's you with the whiteboard drawing up that final play. How do you prepare to be ready for that kind of a moment, and what is going through your mind?
I always have a plan pretty much in advance for every game of how we're going to run, you know, our goalie pull 6-on-5 situations, and so giving them the clearest picture of how they can have success, but then also paint the picture where XYZ may happen, and this is how we are going to respond to ensure that right to the final buzzer we are sticking with it. It's been such a crazy ride for me just because there's been so many other factors and, you know, different energy coming from different people, and I think there's times where I'm so focused on my work that I catch myself post-game or little reactions or interactions with fans or friends where I'm brought to tears because I'm just almost caught in the like, I love what I'm doing, I have so much passion for this work.
Coach Jess was one of the many honored at the 90th annual Seattle Sports Star of the Year Awards. The event highlights the state's best athletes, top team achievements, and memorable moments from 2024. Campbell won Sports Story of the Year for being the first female coach in the NHL. Here's part of her acceptance speech.
This award's not about me. I think it's all about progress. It's about what happens when we stop asking if change is possible and we prove that it is. I may be the first woman behind an NHL bench, but I'm surely not the last, because when one door gets opened, it never really closes. To our head coach, Dan Balsma, this journey began 3 years ago in the minors. Thank you for seeing me for my ability. You believed in the idea that different voices and perspectives, when welcomed with equal knowledge and passion, build stronger teams. This isn't about rewriting the past of hockey or sport. It's about defining the future, and we're just getting started.
Kraken goalie Joey Decord was also nominated in the Sports Story of the Year category for ringing in the new year. To kick off 2024, the Kraken played the Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL Winter Classic, and on that same day, the UW Huskies won the Sugar Bowl. Joey joined us ahead of the awards show to talk about how he's grown as a goalie this season.
Honestly, just to get the trust in the staff and the organization to give me the opportunity to play as much as I have, I'm just incredibly grateful, and I love being out there. I love playing in the city of Seattle, and the way I'm supported and the way the team's supported is incredible. And I think for myself personally, it's just trying to take it one game at a time, one shot at a time, and just keep progressing, keep moving forward. And my job really is to just try to give the team the best possible chance to win.
Ahead, we're learning about billet families and the importance they play on a young hockey player's career.
What has sports and hockey given me over the years? I'd say
it's given me most of my friends. A lot of friends and friendships.
Sports taught me a lot growing up. It taught me how to be tenacious.
Grit and mental toughness.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Resilience.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. It's taught me how to work as a team.
Working together for, a common goal.
There was just so much joy in being able to just let it go and enjoy sport.
Today is Kraken Day. It honors the day in 2018 when 32,000 fans put down deposits for season tickets, even before the Kraken officially became an organization. At tonight's game, the fans and franchise were celebrated at Climate Pledge Arena. This year, the Kraken is focusing on the work in the community and how fans' support of a One Roof Foundation helps their mission. When hockey players' journeys are first starting out, many of them have to move away from home to pursue their career. And that is when billets step in. Billets, or housing parents, are families who host youth hockey players in their homes as a part of their family during the hockey season. They provide a unique opportunity for young players to live in a new environment, develop lifelong relationships, and gain valuable life experiences. We talked to Kraken player development coach Josh Mazurek about the importance of players having a home away from home.
It's crucial because they're leaving home, they're leaving the nest, if you will. They still keep in touch, of course. They still come in and watch games. FaceTime's very important. But for those kids to leave, to have a sense of community, to have a sense of somebody's looking out for them, and to have that immediate bond, that immediate connection, it's crucial because the players that are here that utilize this, they want to grow, they want to develop their hockey, but it's not just about hockey, it's about life as well.
There are a few players on the Kraken's 16U and 18U teams who live with local billet families due to the distance they live from the rink. We talked to Cruz Barnes, who plays on the Junior Kraken 18U AAA team.
As the season's gone on, they've become almost a second family to me. It's been really nice to just have them there with me, and they're the same as my parents. It's awesome how great I gel with them.
If you're interested in becoming a billet family for the 2025-26 season, visit the Kraken Community Iceplex website. Last Saturday at the Kraken Community Iceplex, kids ages 4 to 9 got to try out hockey for the first time. Ice rinks around the nation participated in the Try Hockey for Free event. It gives kids a chance to experience the basics like holding a stick and standing up on skates. Coming up at Climate Pledge Arena this week, Tyler the Creator brings the Chromacopia World Tour to Seattle on Sunday and Monday. And on Tuesday, the Kraken face the Minnesota Wild. After that game with the Wild, the Kraken will head out on a short road trip, which starts in Nashville. Now, as the Kraken continue to fight for a wild card spot, all eyes will be on that NHL trade deadline coming up March 7th. And that'll do it for this episode of Kraken Home Ice. Thank you for looking in. We'll see you next week.
Kraken Home Ice is sponsored by Primera Blue Cross.